Lightning Hill. I'm a bachelor with a big house and I live up in the hills. So I'm very popular with friends and relatives, especially in the summer. In the winter, I've noticed my popularity tends to wane. Lest you think I'm the kindest-hearted person, I should tell you, I have my own system of payment. Stories. I tell stories and tall tales, and you never know which is which. Still, you have to listen, or the generosity pipeline runs dry. When I've had enough of my visitors, I retire upstairs to my personal quarters where no guest may venture. But I range downstairs at my will. And when I'm in the mood for a story, you need to be in one too. A distant nephew, or more correctly, nephew of a nephew, had booked a 5-day slot in the summer calendar. He brought with him a sweet young wife. Their holiday interlude was half done when a thunderstorm threatened. Lightning zigzagged over the hills and thunder rolled over us in a wide arc, gaining and then losing volume as it roared away into the distance. The outdoors were dense and dark, and there was a dangerous sizzle in the air. Far away to the right, a fierce orange flame exploded on a hillside. The thunder that followed was an almighty crack, as if the world was splitting in two. The girl leapt out of her chair to peer out the window. The whole hill was on fire, or enough of it to make no difference. Lightning Hill, I nodded, knowingly. She shivered slightly, eyes still fixed on the blaze. Does lightning always strike it? Indeed it does, I assured her. We are safe on these hills, but if you build so little as a haystack or so much as a mansion on that hill, it won't survive. You can cover it in a forest of lightning conductors, but come the first electric storm of the season, it will be in flames. Many have believed that there must be a solution, and they are clever enough to find it. And maybe there is. But in the decades I've been here, it hasn't been found. That hill does not intend to be conquered. It will tolerate sheep and tea, but when humans try to tame it, it fights back and shows who's boss. Oh, go on, Grandpa. They both called me that, though I wasn't Grandpa to either of them. Go on, Grandpa. You don't really believe that. Surely you don't, they harangued me. Aha. So you're skeptics. You don't believe that hills and clouds and rivers have souls that must be propitiated? That's all very well for you city kids. But up here in the mountains, things are more elemental. And there's a great deal that science can't explain. Like what? Countered the nephew. Come on, lay it on us and we'll see what we can't explain. I don't take challenges like that lightly. You will go there tomorrow when the sun is setting and experience it for yourself. But I'll tell you the story today so that you can do your darndest to resist. Then we'll know about your science and its answers. There's a big black shell of a house on that hill. It was home to a wealthy family. That hill and a few others belonged to them. They'd always lived on another hill and used this one only for growing tea or grazing. So though the lightning hits were regular and dependable, they did no major harm. There are only a few burnt-out ruins on the hill, small shelters of wood or stone abandoned when lightning took its toll. The brothers had a falling out, and the younger one decided to build a house on Lightning Hill and live there with his wife and 3 daughters. He well knew the awesome reputation of that hill, but he was a progressive man, a man of science, and was confident he would defeat it. A grand home was built with multiple levels of lightning security. Until the first storm, there was much tension. But the house handled it without a scorch, and science and technology had saved the day. The nephew and his wife looked triumphant. But the story wasn't ended yet. It was a traditional family, and younger brother was authoritarian in all matters, especially regarding his daughters. The 2 elder girls were meek and dutiful and obeyed Papaji's wishes, and life was rosy. But the youngest daughter, Bijli, had always been a rebel and strained at the yoke. Her limbs were smooth and supple like a young deer, her voice a bubbling stream full of liquid energy. Everyone loved her, for she had a ready smile and a kind heart. When she informed her father that she was in love with a boy from the village and wanted to marry him, the whole countryside trembled for her. For sound travels well in the upper reaches, and the roars that emanated from Papaji reverberated across the hills. But Bijli was a chip off the old block. If he did approve of her choice, she declared, he would watch her die an old maid, for she'd certainly not marry any other. Papaji imprisoned her in the house forthwith and commanded his wife and other daughters to make her see sense. His sense, that was. Young Bijli had only one weapon, the most extreme passive weapon in the world, and she deployed it immediately. She stopped eating. Her mother and sisters beseeched her. Papaji was headstrong. He would never give in. She was young. She would soon forget this fellow, whoever he was. Such stubbornness was unwarranted. After all, Papaji wanted what was best for her, didn't he? But Bijli was equally headstrong. She clamped her mouth shut. No words out, no food in. In 4 days, she was terribly weak. In 5, she could no longer rise from her bed. In a week, she couldn't even sit up or open her eyes and was but a wrack of her former self. Her mother and sisters now desperately pleaded with Papaji. They dragged him to her room, and he was so horrified by her appearance that he capitulated immediately. The relationship was doomed from the start. He was undereducated and poor, circumstances which can change and ideally shouldn't matter. But he was also dull and boring and had nothing to commend himself except his half-crazed devotion to Bijli. So lackluster was he that history hasn't even recorded his name. She was charming and intelligent and the most well-known personality in the hills. How could their love have endured such inequality? But Papaji's violent opposition had so got her back up that though he was right, there was now no respectful retreat for Bijli. She got her strength back and returned to normal life. One day, during a sudden summer squall, it was noticed Bijli hadn't yet returned. Worrisome, but not overmuch. It had happened before to all of them. She'd take shelter wherever she was and call when the electricity and telephone lines were restored. It's never good to be out during an electric storm, for in the expanse of the mountains, the lightning and thunder rage wicked and willful. The nephew and wife were now silent. The wild flashes and rolls outside the windows gave credence to my remarks, and from the warmth and safety of their own relationship, they were sucked into worry about this ill-fated romance. The power came back and the telephone sprung to life, but there was no reassuring call from Bijli or any neighbor to say she was safe, don't worry. And Papaji worried and couldn't be convinced to exercise patience. He called together his staff and went looking for her. Eminently impractical, since no one knew where to look in the first place, and surely she was safe and sheltering somewhere. He sent word through the community that Bijli was missing, and dozens turned up to help. It was Papaji who found them, curled together in the futile shelter of one of those burnt-out dwellings, in the eternal embrace of death. They wouldn't even have known what hit them, and death would have been instantaneous and merciful, for it united them forever, whereas life might well have separated them. It destroyed the family. This charming child had been the light of all their lives. They left their home in the hills and went away and never came back. The house stood tall and proud, but no one wanted anything to do with it, for there was a veil of doom over it. In the next stormy season, lightning struck repeatedly and mercilessly, igniting many fires. At the end of that period, the house was a blackened shell with blasted walls. And that's how it remains to this day. During the day, the shepherds and tea workers reclaim the hill. But as the sun sets, the slopes are deserted. It is reported that Bijli and her young man range freely over the hill, chasing each other and rejoicing in the eternal freshness of their romance. They don't like old men, so I've never visited after sunset. But they bless young lovers. Their laughter and their running footsteps are heard, now here, now there, joyfully tripping over the hill. The air is soft and sweet with the perfume of their undying devotion. Sometimes they show themselves. She always has a circlet of wild flowers in her hair. They remain eternally young, their love never waning, their pleasure in each other undiminished by time. The two young ones were huddled together. They didn't want to believe, but had got pulled into the story. I'd seen the horror in their eyes when I spoke of the couple being discovered together, the hope when I spoke of their continued presence on the hill. I pulled my old bones out of my favorite chair. I suggest you take yourselves off there tomorrow after sunset and see for yourselves. I'm eager for verification of this old story, and you too, doubters, will be my best chance, for I'm sure they will reveal themselves to you. We can discuss it over dinner. Now, it's been a long day, and unlike you young ones, I need my rest. So you'll excuse me. Good night and sweet dreams, I quote, trundling myself off upstairs, knowing full well their dreams would be anything but sweet. Dinner tomorrow night will be interesting. Burned out. I lay on my back and looked up at the merciless blue sky. Not a speck of cloud. Not a breath of wind, not a gust of air, not a drop of rain, not a hint of shade. Time stretched infinitely before and behind me, dragging on endlessly, forever and ever and ever. I don't know how long I had been lying like this on my back and hoping for relief. Had it been hours or days? Would relief ever come? I didn't have much hope. I know I spent some time face down on the raft, paddling with both hands, but where had it taken me? Nowhere that I could see. The cruel sun scorched my body. My skin felt cracked and dry, as if it would fall apart like a jigsaw puzzle. My eyes burned under my closed lids. My feet dangled limply in the water. My limbs felt stiff, as if I had slaked them through burning ash. The heat seemed to course freely through my body with a will of its own. The sky poured down an incessant stream of fire. The small raft I was marooned on exuded heat. The expanse of water disgusted me. Heat, water, and nothingness, they consumed my mind. How long could I survive this? Would I die here? Or would a miracle save me? Did God know I was here? Had He registered my presence? I was just a speck. Would He notice my hopelessness and despair? He had not sent even a breath of air to give me hope. A bird flying by, or a kindly drop of rain, even a cloud. I would have accepted a cloud as a messenger of hope. But there was none, from one horizon to the next. I couldn't remember a single prayer. I couldn't register anything except the relentless, fulminating heat, the immobile water, the everlasting silence destroying my spirit, and the roasting rack that my raft had become. My body had no strength to move, my limbs no volition, my spirit no energy. I surrendered to the inevitable. There was an explosion of sound, and I almost fell off the raft in terror. My eyes flew open. My mother towered over me from the poolside. She looked belligerent, arms akimbo, and bare feet tipped with scarlet nail polish placed firmly on the blue poolside tiles. Are you going to lie there till you get sunstroke? Did you remember to put sunblock? Don't look surprised, as if I'm saying that for the first time in your life. Drag your sorry carcass out of that pool at once. Take a plunge and wet yourself, and come in and have some iced lemonade, or you're sure to get heat stroke. Now move it. I didn't say a word. She'd fractured the fantasy, of course, shattered it wide from side to side. I heard her click her fingers at me. And I rolled off the raft and delved deep into the pool. But I still heard her muttering as she strode off. Boys. No hope of them ever growing up. As if a drop of sunblock would destroy his manhood. Tall ones. Stop worrying, Ma. Just drop me off and go and do your work. You can come back in an hour to pick me up. Dr. J and I will be fine. His mother thought, when it comes to these checkups, he's a cool one. She was grateful he'd taken the injury so calmly and handled all the stress around it so deftly. But she knew he'd escaped losing his eyesight by the merest width of a hair, and she wanted to hear from the doctor himself at every visit that things were getting better. But that day, she had a million things to get done, so she let herself be persuaded. "Behave yourself," she warned him. "I'll be back in an hour and I'll meet the doctor then. Tell him that so he doesn't think you're an orphan child and nobody cares for you." "Ma, enough drama. See you later." As he got out of the car at the clinic, he added innocently, "And I'll try to behave." She wagged her finger at him, but he cheekily sauntered off into the building. These last few months he'd been visiting so regularly that he was familiar with the clinic routine. He waved a hello to the receptionist, calling out his appointment time, and nodded to the tech guys as he strode off to the nurse. After she'd completed her preliminary checks with him and murmured approvingly at his progress, she put in the drops and sent him out to wait till the doc summoned him. This was the boring part. He couldn't read or play a game on his phone as his vision was blurry. He had to just sit and do nothing. Just then, another kid came in. A podgy girl in pink jeans and a too-tight t-shirt, wearing thick glasses. She had that intense, earnest, gullible look that he instantly recognized. He offered a hesitant smile, and she fell for the trap and chose a seat next to him. "Hi," he said softly. "I'm Neil." "I'm Sunita," she replied, also whispering, though there was no one else in the waiting room. Soon they were past the preliminaries of school and class and no common friends, and reached the inevitable question, "What are you here for?" first asked by Neil. "She was in for a routine checkup. Dr. J had helped her a lot because her powers had fluctuated so wildly at first, and he always had such nice frames. She really liked him. What about Neil?" "Oh, I'm much better now," he said casually. "That's good," Sunita said. But better from what?" He looked around cautiously and then whispered to her behind his hand, "My mother threw a knife at me. I almost lost my left eye, but Dr. J has been working on it and my vision is almost fully restored." Sunita looked at him with huge, innocent eyes, almost bursting through those thick lenses, her hand covering her mouth. How could a mother do something like that to her own son? She had absolutely no words. Neil continued in a reassuring tone, talking very softly, so she had to struggle to hear. "Don't worry, I'm much better now. She gets angry sometimes and throws things about. I've had to go to the hospital for stitches a few times, but I don't mind. I'm used to it now." He showed her a variety of old scars on his arms and legs, and one on his chin where you could clearly see the dots from the stitches. "Only this time, when I thought I was losing my eyesight, it was a bit scary." He looked beaten and sad, and Sunita was anguished for him. "But that's child abuse, and it's not permitted," she agitated. "There must be someone who can help you. Your dad, school teachers. What about Dr. J?" "Oh, I never tell any of them," replied Neil hurriedly. "They'd take her away to prison and put me in a home, and that would be much worse than this. So I just bear it. It's not too bad, really. Stitches are okay. I'm used to them. They don't hurt so much now. Only a bit. But this time, when I couldn't see, I was scared." "I feel so bad for you, Neil. This is very wrong," Sunita wailed, overcome with distress, her lip actually quivering. "I'm going to ask my mother. Surely someone can help you. How can she do that to you? Where's your dad? Does she throw things at him too? He needs to protect you. I don't have a dad now, Neil muttered sadly, with his eyes on his lap. That was another whopper, though it was true that his dad was a shippy and spent 6 months at a time at sea, which is where he was right then. Sunita's big eyes were filled with tears. There has to be someone. In school? The principal? A counselor. We have one in our school. Even if you don't have in yours, I'll give you our counselor's phone number. She'll help you. You should not have to suffer this. It's not fair. Even children have rights. Dr. J could help you. He's been so kind to me. I'll tell him the truth. Please, let me tell him for you, Neil. Just then, Dr. J poked his head into the waiting room and said breezily, How are you, Neil, my lad? Come in and let me take a look at you. I'm doing well, Doc, Neil replied, putting his finger to his lips behind Doc's retreating back as Sunita gasped in disbelief. Not a word, he warned her. He hopped into the chair and went through Doc's thorough exam, reading red and green letters in big and small sizes. He could have reeled off that chart with his eyes shut, but he didn't let Doc know that. He never played games in the patient chair. That would have been foolish. As they were nearing the end, his mum came in, and she and the doc discussed Neil's progress. Neil hopped off the chair and gave the doc his customary high five. As they were leaving, his mum warned Doc, You've got one very angry young girl waiting outside. She looked daggers at me when I came in. She's very upset about something. Sunita? Asked Doc, surprised. She's a nice kid. Let me see what's troubling her today. See you both next month, as he ushered them out the door. Come, Sunita, he called, and she jumped up and ran to his room. Neil gave her a small wave as they passed and put his finger on his lips, but she pursed her lips and shook her head, looking fierce and determined. Neil bustled his mum quickly through the exit as he heard her hissing softly at Doc. Do you know his mother threw a knife at him? Neil knew it would take the doc a few minutes to figure out what Sunita was saying, and then to explain that he'd actually hurt his eye playing football, and there was no history of family violence, and Sunita was not to worry, and then to calm her down. But by then, he and his mum would be safely in the lift. This was actually a good thing, he convinced himself, because now he didn't have to go back and sort it out with her. Though he knew it would come out and there was retribution waiting for him at the end. Might as well make the most of the situation before the inevitable arrived. That kid was a strange one, he told his mum in the car. She claimed she was mauled by a tiger. She survived the attack, but the animal had to be tracked and hunted down since it was now a man-eater with a taste for human flesh. What a ridiculous story. Who would accept something so outrageous? I didn't believe a word of it. I think that's why she was so angry. His mum smacked him sharply on his knee. Neil, I'm sure that's just another of your tall ones. Recharge. I took up multiple commitments after retirement and was gainfully occupied. But there was always an undefined malaise. I couldn't rest by day, I couldn't sleep by night. My mind was worrying, and I was constantly exhausted. One day, I picked up a pack of cards. Magic had been a childhood hobby, and after more than half a century, I turned to it again. To pull off the simplest trick with aplomb, so that everyone goes bug-eyed with delight, needs hours of focus and practice. And I had endless hours to fill. So I taught myself some new tricks and repeated them until my hands flew, and even though I knew what I was doing, I still couldn't see myself doing it. When I was ready, I packed a bag, strapped on a sleeping bag, and left. Okay, not so drastic. I told my friends what I was planning to do. I was still of sound mind and body, and I had a yearning to wander aimlessly. They said I must be mad. But go and be mad if I wanted to. I get on a bus or a train and get off. Somewhere, anywhere. I approach the village elders, mostly gnarled and grey-stubbled like me. Only after I feel accepted do I ask to meet the senior ladies. I sit at a respectful distance, accept a glass of tea if it's offered, tell them I've brought some entertainment for the kids. That always pleases them. There's no entertainment for the kids in the places I go to. A few neighbors gather, always only women and children at this stage. I perform a few simple stunts, disappearing and reappearing balls, ribbons that separate and rejoin, coins that come out of ears, nothing big. But what a response I get, as if I'm pulling off miracles. I stay and do lots more tricks, the well-known ones, Water of India, Where's the Queen, Cup and Balls, all the usual stuff. But I have to be damn good at my game. They swarm me. In front of, behind, beside, even above me, on the branches of a tree. The whole village gathers. There is no longer any pretense that it's only for the kids. They watch intently. They want the magic to be real. I have to make it real for them. I love the thrill in their eyes. Every viewer becomes a child at heart. That's the real magic, the rejuvenation, not just making a ball disappear or the hoops link and unlink. I feel their desire to be delighted and their confidence that they will be. This intense pleasure in the face of the unknowable creates an energy, a kind of force field. We all feel it. I play all my usual stuff for a few days, but the money doubler is my most stunningly successful trick. It's easy enough in terms of the magic, but nothing can match it for sheer excitement. So I've learned to bring it out only at the end of my stay, when it's time to leave. Every crowd I've ever played for loves that trick. Love is simply not hyperbolic enough a word. They go ballistic. The hard part is in convincing somebody to put up his money. I have to wheedle and cajole. Finally, I managed to coerce one person. The crowd rustles with static energy. I match his note with one from my wallet and fold them both tight and place them on the table. I cover the 2 wads with 2 steel cups and flick one of the wads, obviously, into the other cup. Now one cup has 2 wads and the other has none. All he has to do, I tell him, is follow my movements carefully, declare which cup has the money, and walk away with his winnings. Ready now? Watch carefully. Don't take your eyes off the cup. Which one has the money? I remind them all, lifting the correct cup so that they can see the folded notes. I start slowly, always exhorting them to watch my hands, watch my hands. I pick up speed steadily, going faster and faster, talking all the time, matching the speed of my batter to the rising tempo of my movements. They are whipped to a fever pitch, shouting themselves hoarse. It's in his left! It's in his left! No, it's in his right! I swear it's in his right! I didn't take my eyes off it for a second! Choose left! Choose right! Choose left! Choose right! He has to choose one. And of course, it's the wrong one. and you can hear the collective groan in the next village. I smooth the notes flat and tuck them ostentatiously into my pocket. Go on, try again. It's not much money, I urge him, and he'd not want to. But the crowd was never letting him escape now. It's too thrilling for them without being out of pocket a cent. So we go through the whole thing again. Rising pitch and mad excitement and all. And he loses again. The crowd is like a beast. The women usually stand on benches at the back, lending their vociferous support but giggling madly when it all goes wrong. The kids constantly push through the men's legs and come to the front and are shoved back. This is the time for the big boys to play. The men bristle with machismo, each confident that he'd have nailed it. Once more, I tell their hapless buddy, and if the crowd hadn't been pressing in so hard, he'd have taken off at a clip. But he's hemmed in on all sides. I'll front your stake too, I tell him. You can't lose now, and if you win, you get all your money back. Now that's an offer he can't refuse, and the game is on. I flick the 2 notes under one cup, lift it again to show it has the wadded notes, lift the other to prove it's empty. The 40 or 50 or 100 pairs of eyes are figure of 8ing with my hands. I start moving faster, talking faster. The crowd is holding its breath, mesmerized by my hands, and abruptly, I stop. Their energy surges and crackles around me like an electric storm. Finally, someone blurts out, "It's in his right hand." And they all start yelling, "Right hand! Right hand! Right hand!" The mark puts out his hand slowly. There's more than a piddly $10 riding on this now. His whole future in the village hangs on this. His hand drifts to my left hand, and the whole audience screams at him. He jumps like a scalded cat and creeps sideways towards my right hand. The crowd roars with a single voice. I offered him a chance. He can change his mind. The crowd laughs maniacally. "No way, mister. I'm going to have to pay up this time." I keep offering him a chance to change, and the crowd yells at him never to accept the offer. And after ages, he shakes his head. "Don't say I didn't warn you," I tease, and the poor fellow goes a bit green at the gills. I lift both hands together in one hugely dramatic movement, and the folded notes are sitting prettily under my right hand. And the crowd goes berserk. Whistling, shouting, backslapping, it's a riot. He lunges at those precious notes and pockets them with overweening pride and ecstasy. In all this cacophony, no one notices the magician slink away, retrieve his bag, and catch the bus out of town, towards which timing the whole final act has been carefully constructed. Before they finish celebrating their mega victory, I'm gone. The energy from the crowd has surged into me as if I was hooked into the grid. The blood sings in my veins again. My nerves tingle. My mind is calm and ticking over at a steady, even pace. I can feel the comfort of a battery on full power again. I've spent maybe a week in the village, paying my small daily bills for food and shelter. I've entertained their kids and given the adults a show I know they'll talk about for weeks, if not for months. The guy got his money back, and I got an energy boost that I'll run on for some time. And when that runs out, another town, another show, another recharge.